Today, Thursday, we like to discuss family, relationships, and marriage. And one of the interesting stories that caught our attention is particularly about marriage. Now, on this show, we've been proponents of good homes, good marriages, and we extol the values and virtues of a good relationship. However, when some stories come to our attention that have to do with what women go through or have to go through just to live normal lives in a marriage because society demands it of them to stay in hurtful marriages, we need to begin a conversation on why some people are advocating for women, especially Nigerian women, to be bold enough to seek for divorce. A feminist, let me reference a feminist, I'm not sure even if she has her name here, but she just tags herself as a feminist. And you know, when Nigerians hear feminist, they think negative, but feminist is just somebody who is the proponent of feminism and believes that women are equal to men. It's not a disease. All right, so according to this feminist, divorce rates, according to her, the divorce rates are not high enough in Nigeria. She said a lot of Nigerian men should have been, a lot of Nigerian women should have left their husbands long time ago. And some can argue this. According to her, she knew somebody who, her husband has stopped her from seeing her friends. He will reprimand her each time she goes out with her friends, to even see her friends or hang out with her family. He told her to go on, she was a medical doctor, and he caused her to stop going for night shifts, because according to her, night shifts is when they make most money, because that's when they need you. He stopped her from taking night shifts. He also got her to go back to medical school, and when he did that, when she came back, he made her take jobs that will only allow her to work maybe 2 or 3 days so she can have time for the family. And then we'll be locking her out maybe when she comes out late with her friends. He was just saying stories of what women go through. And while I was reading this article, and then remembered the story of Derek Jackson in the US, which also went viral. I'd like Miriam to just give us a background to that story before we now start the conversation.
I need to give you context. So it's, first of all, Derek Jackson, I don't know how many Nigerians know him, but he's well known on social media. He's a relationship coach, personal, coach. And he would talk about, he's a feminist, an advocate for women to be happy in relationships and how they can seek good relationships. But then in his own marriage, it seems that he's not practicing what he preaches, because in his own marriage, there's been many reports of him cheating on his wife. They even had a social media sit down where he explained to his fans and followers that, you know what, those pictures or videos you saw of me cheating was in the past. We have moved on from that. We're working on our marriage. But a few months after that video, we saw him with another woman. And then he said that he and the wife could not work on their marriage anymore, so they've gone their separate ways. But what was interesting was that during that video, that social media chat, he looked so handsome and the wife looked quite depressed. But yesterday, a new video came out. The woman is looking like 2 different people. She's looking beautiful. She's had her hair done. She's speaking, sitting up more confidently. And she was explaining how through the years, she knew him since she was 19, and found out through therapy that he had been cheating on her with over 100 women. She said that even in that marriage, she knew when he would meet up with these women, she knew what they did. She would watch videos of her husband and these women being intimate with each other. And she did that so she could learn what they were doing to her husband, and she could do it better for her husband. She would go on their social media profile to see how they were dressing and talking, so she could be that for her husband. But it still didn't work. They still went their separate ways.
That is why the conversation about there are some women who should be encouraged to have that boldness and confidence to exit. Because this woman, for example, that you talked about, was depressed, and she started doing things that she ought not to have done. She probably could have been diagnosed with bipolar, various mental health issues. Also, the blogger was talking about this medical doctor whose life totally changed for the worst because she got married to a man who was constantly reprimanding her and pulling her down. But because in Nigeria, divorce, even not in Nigeria, in the Bible, God hates divorce. Although we've been told that God hates divorce, but he doesn't hate the divorcees, but he hates divorce. So when you hear that, a lot of women are so scared of taking that step of divorce. So that's the conversation. We're not trying to ask people to get divorced, and that's not who we are. That's not what the show is about. But there are some people that should begin to make that process. What are your thoughts on women who truly must begin to think of that step? You can call us on 081 270 53687. 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. So we have these two case scenarios, the Derek Jackson story and also this feminist. Both of them are feminists, so there's also something wrong with him. He's a feminism mentality, I don't know. But the thing is, we have to be true and real with ourselves. It's not every marriage that is rosy. Although there are some who say, yes, marriages have issues, but we can work it out. Others, it's almost impossible, and women find it difficult to take that step of, I got to leave this house. Let me start with you, Coach. Dr. Coach.
Coach in the mud.
Hey. What are your
Hey.
thoughts on this matter?
So I wish the lady, maybe if we get the real podcast, we may see how long, and she would have narrated to us at the point she decided to take a walk.
Yeah.
So that we will see the progression when she woke up from slumber, because she was definitely sleeping in that relationship and the man was taking advantage of her, probably at the level he met her. And one thing I know about these people that are very deceptive, narcissistic, and abusers is that they go for women they know they can cheat. They go for women they know do not really understand themselves, women that are not so aware. So I had friends, you know, back in school then, when I come around to visit them and their guy, and I'll be arguing, you know, I always like to gist and argue. We'll argue politics, we'll argue this, we'll argue that. And when I go, the girl will tell me that, my guy does not like you. I say, why? He said, no, that if I become friends with you, if I stay long with you, you will spoil me. You will open my eyes. So because in the argument, they will realize that you can't shut me down. Because I'm a woman does not mean I should be subservient to you. You are a boy, you are almost my age. So being a man does not mean that the only person I would, you know, bring myself down for is the person who decides to marry me, and I agree because we are working towards a goal and it's a home. But outside, if you're my age mate, you're in my level and whatever, we will talk, we would engage. And I see that some of those guys do not like women who can engage them. They don't like women who know themselves. So once a girl tells me that, I will now ask, he don't they beat you? He don't they abuse you? Small. The other day, slap me. This one that I'll say, he will not like somebody like me because he knows that if I'm in that space, I will get you out of there. So I wish we really had the true story, because at some point, every woman will begin to think for themselves. I don't like to get involved in telling you what to do. You have to know what to do when you're ready. So what I see is because we process a lot of things and society has made it seem like, stay there now, you're a woman. It's your responsibility to make the marriage work. So anything the man is doing, you find a way to make yourself happy, you find a way to focus on the children, you find a way, but it's wear and tear. It will get to you at some point. It will bring you down emotionally at some point. It will demoralize you physically at some point. I've seen women who have stayed in such marriages in their 50s now, always coming down with different diseases and sicknesses. It's some of the things that they had bottled just because they needed to make the marriage work. So when the team pain you reach bone and you're ready, please see a therapist. I'm sure that lady had to see a therapist to get her to that point.
She did mention that she's been actually healed. The reason why she can talk about it now is because she's been through that healing process. And she can confidently talk about it. But, you know, it's also how we can, I know as a Christian, sometimes I struggle with these kind of conversations because it's the need to normalize or to stop the stigma and embarrassment and shame in divorce. Because the society makes it look as if once I step out, I become an incomplete person. And it's changing that conversation that is so necessary so that women who have to watch... I heard that there's a woman says that the husband gave her STDs.
Oh, of course. Easy.
Your husband will be giving you STDs and you have to stay there. Yes, maltreating you, and you'll be treating your STDs.
Yes, they will even bring the medicine for you too.
So these are irreconcilable issues, but women have not been able to boldly take that step. And I would like to hear from divorcees today, because sometimes hearing your story of when you said, I am done, there's some that left in a haste and they have regrets. I know a few people who say, you know what, Mariah, maybe I could have been a bit more patient and understanding because the man has evolved, this man is now a better person, I wish I had stayed. There are those stories. But there are some that like, man, Mariah, I am glad I left that space. I met somebody in UK, she was like, Mariah, I am living my life. She was over 50. I am living. I'm finally living. She was so happy, you know. So I would love to hear from divorcees this morning. Call in and share your story. At what point Did you say, I have
Did you
to
wake
leave?
up?
Did you wake up? Mariam, let me hear your...
You know, in the beginning, I thought this would be a conversation of only divorcees. That's those who have physically left and separated from their marriage legally. But I know with the way things are, especially in our African context, where I now understand where, when women are going through issues in their marriages, we have older females who say, concentrate on your children, concentrate on your work. It's a form of divorce. You have emotionally divorced yourself from that husband and your expectations of what he's supposed to bring to that marriage or the happiness he's supposed to give you.
The mental divorce.
Yes, and now you're concentrating on your work and your children and yourself. And this brings me to understanding also better what self-love means. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, like when you were younger and you were single and you were feeling yourself, all of a sudden everybody just wants to be with you. But when you're depressed and you're desperate for marriage, the people don't come.
They don't see you.
So men also will treat you how you present yourself or where you are. If you're at a point where you're loving up on yourself, you understand your self-worth, you're confident, you're chasing your dreams, you're chasing your career, they will be coming to you to look for how they can be part of it. But when you make them their whole world, and it's not just men, but we're going to just concentrate on men in marriages. When you sort of make them your whole world, you do nothing unless it has to do with them. They get bored. Who are you? They want to know who they are with. I don't want you to be a replication of me. I fell in love with a woman who is this and who is that and who is that. I'm not asking you all of a sudden, shut down who you are and be just subservient to me. I don't think, you know, I just feel that that way bores men a lot. And now there's the second part, which is where we have used, I don't call it any religion, but we have used religion to express that the only way a woman can be truly loved is by being completely subservient, by lacking, you know, her own personality. And I don't think that we're telling women the truth in that regard. And so I'm going back to that place where the woman, in the Bible, the virtuous, remember, is it the virtuous woman?
Proverbs 31.
Proverbs 31 woman. She is all these things that she does on her own. Before the man is mentioned, is almost at the end of who she is. So she's someone that they said the husband looks up to, the children are proud of. Who are you as a person? This conversation is really about who you are as a person. And if you are that sort of person, you're confident, you love yourself, you're doing your thing. Are
we going against the Bible?
No, we're not going against it. We're going exactly as Proverbs 31 says.
Who can find
He's saying,
anybody?
you, if you are that Proverbs 31 woman, your
find
husband will look up to you with respect. Okay. The people on your streets will talk about you with respect. Your children will be proud of you. The husband that is with you, because he understands that you're such a prize, he will not mess up. And also, if you know who you are and you have a husband who does not recognize that you're such a prize, there are two things. You do it the way our mothers have always done it, which you mentally divorce yourself from this, or you do it the way we do it now, which is I also, not only mentally, but physically take myself out of this situation. That's how I see it.
You know, it's quite interesting because as I said, the way we still look down on women who have made that all-important decision to leave. You know, sometimes they are easily judged. Yeah. Nobody cares to ask what happened. I know there was a story about a woman who, her family was constantly criticizing her for, I can't remember, either being rude to her in-laws or just being very nagging. She was just, you know, she was just a very unruly woman, you know. So everybody used to complain, and the pastors would come and preach to her. The elders would come and beg her, calm down now, treat your in-laws well. But one woman who was able to even ask her, what happened? How do you feel? She said she then broke down and started saying what that man was doing, what she was going through in the house, what the man forces her to do within the house. Very unspeakable things.
Wow.
To her body, to her everything, like stripped her of her person. So because she's depressed, she takes out that anger on family, friends, when they come out, she takes it, but because she can't say it out to anybody. So we are only seeing, so you are there criticizing, this woman, she can't call her husband, could leave her. You don't know what the woman is going through. So for that woman to now say, you know what, I am done. It took a lot. Right. So we hardly ask this question. We just always judge them so quickly. Why would you leave your husband's house?
Yeah. I have a friend, not had, she's still my friend, pastor's wife. At the time, she was one of the, you know, pastors that gave me opportunity to, minister in their church when I just started my gospel ministry. And we noticed, we'll minister, we noticed that she was snobbish. She was a very pretty woman. When the husband stands in the pulpit, the husband will praise her shape, praise everything, But then when she just meet us, greet us, and then she disappears. No plenty smiles, no hug. She wasn't warm. So we felt, And then people were whispering, what's wrong with her?
Her husband is praising her outside.
A few years after I met her, we met in the coaching industry. Hey, we exchanged, what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And I realized that the marriage had packed up. You left, Pastor, what happened? When she gave me her story, I was crying. Apparently, the pastor was a narcissist. Physical abuse, spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, all the abuse put together. She managed that relationship for years before she had to take. In fact, her parents came to carry her out of the house before you die. And I saw another video where there were some ladies who were celebrating being divorced. We judged them. How can you celebrate it? Quietly divorce yourself. These women, when I listened to what some of them were saying, they were celebrating freedom at last. Not freedom to jump around, though. Freedom to live. Because some of them, life had nearly been snuffed out of them. They were just holding on and pressing and managing and squeezing.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, I would really like to hear from divorcees.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.